In this video, we're going to be discussing processes. We're going to look at the PS, top, jobs, BG, FG, and kill commands, and we're going to be discussing briefly the kill all, reboot, and shutdown. Okay, I've logged into CiderMill, and I am at my playground directory, and I created another one called process, so I'll be working in that for some of these examples. The first thing I want to show you is just how we can look at what running processes we have right now. Very simply, just do PS, and it kind of gives a short list. It just kind of shows us the ID of the process and what is actually being run at the time. If we go PS aux, we get a little bit more information, and that's helpful. It gives us a lot more. Some of the same and a little bit more of the CPU memory, things like that. But the thing is that's just a snapshot. So another one that you can run is top. And when you run top, you actually have the information here at the top of the screen that's a little bit more dynamic. Now, this is in my own user account. So this is just me. There's not a lot. And this is probably what you're going to be getting. So if I hit Q and I get out of that, I'll go ahead and clear my screen. What I want to do is I'm going to log in as sudo for a second, just to show you what the actual process would look like from maybe if you were a systems admin or something like that. And so here, if I do PS aux, there, a little bit more of a list. Okay, definitely quite a bit more information there. And let me go ahead and clear it here and put in top, and same type of thing. Okay, so this is just a little bit more accurate because obviously when you're just in your own local folder and that's all you have the permissions to, you're not going to get the real true scope of what processes are running on this system. And this kind of gives it to you a little bit more. We're not going to go through all these different processes and things like that. That's something that's a little bit more beyond this course, but just to show you what running processes you can have. I can go ahead and hit Q, and I'll clear my screen. And then I'm going to hit Control D and just go back to where I'm at. And just double check, make sure I'm still in that folder for process. Yes, I am. Now, I want to take a look at background processes a little bit. So, a lot of times we get into situations where we want to run a process, but we want it to be in the background. And so what I have is I have this little script here that first I want to show you the script. And so if I do cat process, you can see that this is the script right here. I'm not really so concerned that you worry about what the script does or how to write it or anything like that. I just want to show you that what it's going to do is it's going to basically, every time it goes through this, what's known as a loop, it's going to just increment my counter by 1. So it's going to say, hi, the count is, and it will be 1, and it will be 2, and it will be 3. And that's going to output everything into this count file that I have right here. Okay, so that's really all that's doing, and that's what we're going to be kind of messing with right now. So let's take a look at what happens when I actually run this command. So to be able to run my process script, which is sitting right here as process, what I have to do is I need to go // must do that, and then process. And we'll be looking at bash scripting towards the end of this course. You're going to understand a little bit more how this works. But if I do that and I hit enter, right now the script is running, but the problem is everything I type doesn't do anything. So for example, I can't do a cd home command. None of this stuff works. It's just typing text. And the reason is because that process script is running right now, and it's running in the foreground, so it's not allowing me to do anything else. So I'm kind of stuck. Okay, so that's the whole point of why we want things to run in the background. Now, what I can do to stop this process is just do Control C, and that stops it right there. Okay, so now you can see I can do things. And if we look at that count file, you can see that while I was doing that, it ran through 7 iterations. Okay, so every 5 seconds it does a new line. So it worked. It did what it's supposed to do, but the problem is it did it in the foreground. Let's run it in the background. To run in the background, let's go start process, and then I do wrong one, the and. I just do that. Okay, it gives me the ID number, which is actually going to be very important. But the other thing is I can do anything I want. So I can, continue to look at stuff. I can actually count the cap that. You can see I'm at 1, 2, 3 right now. And if we wait a few seconds and do it again, there's our fourth one. Okay, so we can see the script is actually running in the background. And what's really neat about this is to look at background processes, we can just do jobs. And they're showing that I'm running this one process right here. And it's 1 plus. Now if we do PS, then we get a little bit more information. We actually get the number. Now this first one is the bash script that's running the system. This second bash right here is actually running my script. It's just a little bit hard to kind of see it. I can do PSAUX, and I get a little bit more information on it, and just kind of showing some start times. So this is a little bit helpful. I can see at least what the most current one is, so I know that's the one that I want to do. There's a couple ways that I can stop this process. Okay, I can either put it back into the foreground. And because it's the first process, as we saw up here, or that we can get from jobs. So if we do jobs again, see it's the first process. So I'll go ahead and clear my screen, go to the top. And what I can do is I can just go foreground and %1, and that puts it into the foreground. And then I can do Control C, and that will kill it. Okay, so that's one way of stopping it. There's another way that we can use, and that's going to be using the kill. So if I run this in the background again, and I go process, and we'll do that. Okay, it's running in the background right now, and you can see that I have this number 88516. Well, what kill allows me to do is it actually allows me to kill a background process, but I need to know what that number is. And that can be a little tough because if you use jobs, jobs doesn't give it to me. Okay, it gives me that number 1, but doesn't give me that number. If we end up doing something like PS, now we get it. And we can also do PS aux, and that's a little bit more because it kind of shows us when this stuff started. Okay, and that's a little bit more accurate. This is when I logged into the system. This is when I actually ran the script. All right, so anyway, to do it, we just do kill. And then we just punch in that number, which is right here, 88516. And once we do that, we now just terminated it. And if we do jobs, it's going to show us that it was terminated. We do jobs again, it's not going to appear at all. So the process is done. And then, of course, we can look at that count file, and it went through 12 iterations before we finally stopped the file. Now, there's other options you can use with kill, but basically we're looking at the most common one, which is the number. There's also kill all, which, for example, if you did multiple processes with the same name. In the book, they used that X logo. We don't have X logo on this system, so we can't really do that example. If I was to run that multiple times and I did kill all X logo, we'd kill every back-end process that was running of that name. When I run my script, I can't really do that because I get the name of bash, and if I do kill all bash, I'll basically shut the system down. There's also reboot and shutdown, and those are higher end commands that at your level you shouldn't be able to do anyways, but you gotta be very careful about doing that because you can shut the server right down. Okay, so those are kind of a little bit more serious. To summarize, we took a look at the PS and top commands, and we realized that the PS gives us kind of a snapshot of things, and depending on what option we use, if we use the aux option, it will give us more information, but normally it gives us just a little bit. When the top command is more dynamic and kind of keeps it running, keeps us giving a more dynamic list of what's happening. Then we took a look at the jobs command, and that basically showed us what jobs were running in the background. Of course, we looked at how to put a file in the background. We actually used a BG shortcut, which is the AND sign. We used FG to be able to take a program from the background that's running in the background and put to the foreground. And we would do that, of course, so we could terminate it. We also looked at how we can use kill to send a signal to a background process and actually terminate it that way. And then we briefly discussed kill all, reboot, and shutdown. And as we found, kill all would kill all the processes of a single name. And reboot, of course, reboots the system. Shutdown shuts down the system.